guess you wonder where I've been. I searched to find the love within. I came back to let you know, got a thing for you, and I can't let go. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. Well, I'm in a daze from your love, you see. I came back to let you know, got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Some people go around the world for love, but they may never find what they dream of. What you won't do to do for love. You tried everything, but you don't give up. In my world, only you make me do for love what I would not do. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. Well, I'm in a daze from your love, you see. I came back to let you know, got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Although I only want the best, it's true. I can't believe the things I do for you. What you won't do for love. You've tried everything.
That are joining us today. So thank you very much for coming. We're here to honor three individuals whose contribution to and devotion to the game of soccer and mass soccer has put them in a special category. And we welcome them. This has been a long time coming, very much long overdue. Before we begin, I do want to thank a couple people that are most responsible for putting this day together. Liz McQuilkin and Debbie Forte, they are the tandem that drives our organization, yes. Besides like sending out all the invitations and organizing all of this and arranging the flowers and actually a little while ago I think they were in the kitchen making all the dinner, so make sure you thank them for that. Okay, allow me to introduce a few others that are in the room that are joining us tonight. Let's see, I think Dan Rooney over here is from Connecticut, the president of the Connecticut State Soccer Association. From the Massachusetts State Referee Committee, the State Referee Administrator, Rich Frangillo. Stand up if you would. At the same table, Kara Hontham, the Director of Referee Instruction. Stand up. I need to know who you are. We always want to know who the referees are in the room. And Kevin Suarez, the Director of Referee Mentoring. There were several other state and regional officers that could not come for a variety of reasons, and they did express congratulations and sent their regrets. Most notably, by the way, Jim Bollinger from Eastern Pennsylvania, who said he really regretted not being here because he really wanted to belly up to the bar. So that was his priority. So. But we're happy to have all of you here and part of our family. And last but not least, I do want to recognize members of our Hall of Fame that are here. From the class of 2001, where's Pasquale Paleo? Pasquale, stand up, please. Pasquale, stand up. Yes, thank you. Some of the folks from that generation, we want to make sure you still can stand up, so that's worth. Pasquale is a former state referee administrator himself and former president of Mass Soccer. From the class of, also from 2001, same class actually, Tony Dubrowski, where's Tony? Former vice president of Mass Soccer and regional cups commissioner, among others. From the class of 1999, Delvo de Placido, former international FIFA referee. From the class of 1997, Frank DeLappa, soccer journalist for the Boston Globe. Frank, stand up. Thank you. And representing Opus County Soccer Club, Peter Council. For those folks there, please, afterward, make sure you don't leave early. I do want to take a photo with you and all the rest of the inductees, okay? I want to read a passage from a book called Fever Pitch. It was made into a movie. You may have seen it or read the book. It was written by an English author named Nick Hornby. And it goes like this. As I get older, the tyranny that soccer exerts over my life, and therefore over the lives of my family and people around me, is less reasonable and less attractive. After long years of experience, my family and friends know that the game always has the last word in any plans. They understand, or at least accept, that minor events like birthday parties or christenings or weddings or vacations, which in other families would take priority, can only be planned after checking the soccer schedule. So in that sense, soccer is regarded as a given disability that has to be worked around. If I were wheelchair bound, nobody close to me would organize anything requiring me to climb stairs. So why would they plan anything for me on a fall Saturday afternoon? And I suspect, I know that I can relate to that, but I suspect that a lot of us in this room have the same condition or affliction or whatever. So again, for those guests, the invited guests, the family members, the others that are joining us tonight that all have the great misfortune of living with one of us soccer people, on behalf of us all, I can say we're sorry. So that's it. We're going to start the presentations in a bit. The food has been prepared outside. I guess if you want to go table by table, we'll go around the room this way and off you go. Enjoy your meal. Thank you. I'd like to open this evening by reading another quote. This one's from Megan Rapinoe. This is my charge to everybody. Do what you can. Do what you have to do. Step outside of yourself. Be more. Be better. Be bigger than you've ever been before. I like that quote. Steve Siniscalchi started playing soccer back in the 1960s. And there were really not a lot of organized leagues back then. I think he mostly bounced around playing pickup games for a while, wherever he could find a game. Life took him to various places, from Montreal to Florida and lots of stops in between. And finally, around the 1980s or so, I think he landed in Massachusetts, where he started coaching youth soccer and joined the New England Over the Hill Soccer League. And as is typical of Steve, he could not just play, he got involved. 4 years on the Bay's board of directors, over 15 years as player manager of his Over the Hill Soccer League team, over 20 years on the board of directors of the league, serving as secretary, division director, chair of the player conduct committee, I think still, I'm not sure. His playing career alone spans over 3 decades just in that league. Steve, I have a feeling that you probably got on the board of directors just to make sure they kept adding divisions as you got older so you could keep playing. Good move. Two-term president, by the way, two-term secretary for Mass Soccer. In 2019, he founded the Walking Soccer Pickup Program in Massachusetts. And besides all those countless hours of volunteering his time and energy, he also gets credited for saving a life on the soccer field when he grabbed an AED and jump-started a player's heart who had collapsed on the field. And that was, I think, in 2018. And there is no greater contribution to our community than that. So for that, thank you very much, Steve. Not able to join us tonight. He actually lives out of state now, but a lot of you may know the name Jeremy Mordkoff. He's the longtime webmaster for that league and Mass Soccer, longtime contributor for the game himself. And he said this about Steve. He is tireless as a board member. Every player in Over the Hill Soccer League owes him their thanks. He has been a workhorse for that league, doing whatever was needed at the time to keep things running smoothly. Or in Megan Rapinoe's words, do what you have to do. Okay, now to say a few words about Steve. Where's Jim? Jim, if you would come up and help present the award for Steve. This is Jim Buza, the president of Over the Hill Soccer League. Glasses. Big print?
Well, I just write a few words so that I can.
Good move.
They told me I had 2 minutes, which I mean, in normal soccer time, I also get overplay as well. All right. Steve, where you at? See, look at that. I'm working on these glasses. It's my first presentation with glasses, so we're gonna see how this goes.
If you need another pair, I got them right
Thanks,
here.
man.
Back up over there.
All right, so just want to first start out thanking Mass Soccer, thanking Andy and everyone for the dinner and the evening and the chance to sit here and give this acknowledgement to these folks who make adult soccer what it is in this part of the world. And in particular, I want to congratulate and acknowledge Steve Siniscalchi, my good friend and fellow board member on the OTHSL for going on for me 15 years. Steve outdates me on the board. And say a couple things, right? So I want to start with, if we're a great league, and I believe we are, right? What makes the OTHSL a great league? And frankly, it comes down to the people, right? It's the people who run the league, who make the league happen. I had the chance to go out and make a presentation to the Western region of adult soccer. And, I had to sit down and think about it, right? They wanted to talk to me. Hey, you're a big league in New England, one of the biggest leagues in the country. What makes you guys work? And I had a slide. We have 160 some people who run our leagues, more, right, across managers and division directors and referees and referee coordinators. So it's really the people who make the league, right? But people are just people, and they all have a little piece. There's individuals amongst those people who really stand out to make our league what it is, and I'm really happy to say that Steve Siniscalchi is one of those people. Steve has had many roles on the board. We mentioned some of the formal roles he's had. It's much beyond that. Steve has served as a mentor of mine and almost every other role of every other person on our board. He can run our finals, he can run our registration, he can run our finance if he has to, or at least ask for checks if it comes down to it. And so, when we think about Steve and his contributions to the league that I'm proud to be a member of and to help lead and coordinate, Steve has been a massive part of that. I asked Steve when I was preparing that meeting, what has made us so great? And Steve said humility, right? That we're not too big. We don't think too much of ourselves, that we can't add another age division, right? We started, over the 20 years Steve's been here, we only had over 30, over 40, and maybe just got an over 50. Now we have over 55, over 62, and 10 teams in over 68. Over 68. A lot of that has to do with, I believe what Steve is right, the humility of the players, the humility of ourselves to look at ourselves, and Steve brings that to us. Lastly, again, I just want to talk through, give Steve credit again from a standpoint of on that role, humility, and the role he plays for us. Steve takes the hard positions. If there's a team that's getting beset upon, even if they've got a couple issues with the ref, maybe they got in a fight with the other team. If they're showing up in front of the board, Steve generally takes the advocacy position for them and makes sure that we as an organization are thinking holistically about everything that when happens, even when it's a tough position to take. So he plays that role there as well. And really, I just want to end with, I could not run this league. I couldn't be responsible for this league or to be a steward of this league, as I mentioned, so many people, without your help, Steve. And I really appreciate, again, the recognition and the award that you deserve tonight. And congratulations.
Steve, come on up. Invite him up. Here we go.
I'm supposed to invite you up.
I'll let you.
Thank you. Good, sir.
Very nice words.
We have that. This is for you as well. But the podium is yours, okay?
Okay. So, well, first of all, it's a great honor. I appreciate it very much. In all humility, I deserve it. But truthfully, I sat and tried to think, what kind of a story I could tell that would be entertaining. And the first time I became an administrator in Over the Hill, and I was a player, I loved playing. I started when I was 40, that was 1989. I played for about 10 years on a couple of teams, Wellesley, Needham. Then I started my own team in the town where I lived, Dover, Sherburne, and I actually took that team 40s, 50s, and 60s. But I didn't get on the board until 1999, and this is how I got on the board of Over the Hill. They had a general meeting. They had the dais up there and all the guys on the board, and they announced that the secretary was resigning and leaving and moving to California. So they said, gee, we need a volunteer. And unluckily, I was sitting in the front row. And one of the guys who I knew on the board pointed at me and said, Siniscalchi, you could be a good board member. Why don't you volunteer? And of course, I'm going, okay, and there's all these people looking at me. So I volunteered. So that was the start. But no, after that, it was sort of a labor of love. Over the Hill, it morphed into what is truthfully, the biggest league in the United States for adult soccer. We always claim that. I'm pretty sure it's true. I remember seeing some teams from leagues in Texas. But one of the things that I felt was, the reason that the league grew so much was that we were not concerned with just all soccer players. We were strictly concerned with old soccer players. We only have over 30s. That's our youngest guys. In fact, back when I joined the league, it was only 30s and 40s. Now it's 30s, 40s, 48s, 55s, 62s, and last year we started over 68. All right? So all of those guys, and there's Liz would know how many, but there's like 6,000 guys all playing soccer, which is a very healthy thing to do. And it's good for the cardiovascular, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. So having been part of all of that, I won't go into all of the ups and downs because there were quite a few, but it's been 22 years. And Jim, with all the nice words, is actually my fourth president that I worked for as the secretary. And finally, I'd like to say that I've never been the president myself because it would be a step down for me. But thank you very much.
Oh, Steve. Here you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's a quote from Lionel Messi. I like these quotes. The only thing that matters is playing. I have enjoyed it since I was a little boy, and I still try to do that every time I go out onto a pitch. I always say that when I no longer enjoy it or it's no longer fun, then I won't do it anymore. I do it because I love it, and that's all I care about. There are no simple words that quite express the energy, enthusiasm, passion that embodies Cezar Wislocki-Wasecki's commitment to the game of soccer. Privately, by the way, I'm going to admit it now, I call you the Energizer Bunny. That's your nickname around the house. His involvement began when he was a little boy. His support and love of the game has never waned. As player, team manager, league secretary, president of the Bay State Soccer League, three-term president of Mass Soccer, chairman currently, I believe, of the USASA Soccer Festival and director at large for the USASA Board of Directors. Besides titles, when I look at what he actually did in those positions, I saw a common theme. And it's really always applying big picture thinking and putting the organization first in everything that he did and everything that he touched. Things like revising and updating bylaws to eliminate contradictory, outdated language, streamlining budgeting and fiscal accountability to things that were done, just the wrong way. Now they're done the right way. He spearheaded the transition from the paper era to paper and pencil, really, to real-time computerized registration process, which is used to this day. Along the way, increasing growth, decreasing costs. His effect on mass soccer alone, we still have the lowest cost and best value programs of any state in the country, largely because of him. In 2013, he was named, he won the USASA President's Award for Outstanding Achievement in Membership Development. And there's something else that he did. He did all of this while unifying a lot of disparate, unconnected factions in soccer. There was an era when these kinds of things didn't happen and people didn't come together for this, and they couldn't even be in the same room. Those things are now commonplace. And I kind of go back to Lionel's quote, the only thing that matters is playing. I'd like to invite Debbie Forte to come up and say a few words, who knows Cezar very well. So there you go. You help me present this one.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be here and have the opportunity to speak about Cezar, who I know not only as a soccer colleague, but as a friend. I wouldn't be standing here before you if not for Cezar, because he brought me into mass soccer. And so I struggled, and I thought, okay, 2 minutes, Liz, it's not going to be 2 minutes. How do I embody Cezar in 2 minutes? So I thought, I'll get a definition. And I pulled out a Swedish dictionary, and I looked up the word Cezar, and it said crazy soccer man. But I thought, we all know that, so I need more than that. So I racked my brain, and I thought about the first time I met Cezar. I pulled into a parking lot, I opened my car door, and I hear screaming. And I thought, what is this yelling? And I look over, and this yelling man is standing behind my little boy. And I thought, oh, it's his new coach. How is this going to work? How's it going to work? And it worked out great. So much so that recently my son and I have been working on college applications and essays. And I said, think about who in your life has made a difference. Who are the people you've known, whether it's teacher or coach or anybody along the way who you could write about, who you could share an experience about. I said, you've been a 3-season athlete for, 14 years, played private, NEFC soccer, played varsity soccer, played club soccer, all of it, town soccer, cross country, track, basketball. He stopped me and he said, Cezar. He said, Mom, it's Cezar. He's the one who's made the biggest difference in my life. And he's been the best coach I've ever had. And so I had a moment of quiet reflection and I said, Benjamin, tell me more. And he said, you know what, Mom? He knew when to push, and he knew when not to push. And he knew what I needed and what everyone else needed. And aside from all that, we had a blast. He said, so when I think about Cezar and I think about what he did for me, he's the best coach I ever had. So that, I think, from the mouth of now an 18-year-old who was way back a 5-year-old, embodies who Cezar is. He knows when to push, and he knows when not to push, and he always has fun. Like the quote you said, always play. So Cezar, for that, at that level, I appreciate you and value, both value for my son and for myself. I think a lot about what Andy said in terms of the state stuff, the system that I work on today, is because of you. I think about the national stuff, and Liz and I have had many conversations about the women's teams, and I'm looking around at the women in the room who go to Soccer Fest because of you, who have a place to play, or have a division to play in. Not only the beer tent, but an actual division. So with that, I'm honored to stand here and say congratulations to you. I've seen you through the lens again of coach, of father, of friend, of husband. He is all that you see, and an amazing person, and I'm happy to call him a friend of mine. So congratulations, Cezar, for your Hall of Fame nomination. It's or award rather, very well deserved. So, yeah. Fingerprints and all. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
No, that's my notes. That's my speech.
You don't need them.
No. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep this pretty short because I've gone to Hall of Fames where it's 30-minute speeches, so I'm not going to do that. So first of all, I wanted to thank the Hall of Fame committee members for inducting me, Mass Soccer and all its members, and my family, especially the last 15, 20 years, not just for like the missed time that I've done, for the missed time because I haven't been around. And of course, I get it back today. My daughter's playing soccer. My wife is there with her, so I'm getting it back today. So I think the quote that you said, Andy, in the beginning, it's so true. This is a great honor, and I appreciate the recognition. I have many great memories from playing in BSSL, being part of Mass Soccer Board, USASA Board, the US Soccer Adult Council Board too. There are a few things that stand out to me, and I'm not going to go into the details, all of that, but you know, coaching, managing a team, and coaching youth, managing adults, and playing with adults, being part of the National Cup for a BSSL team in Chicago. A couple of years ago, they won it. I think it was 6-7 years ago. Just being there and being part of it was amazing. Vets Cup, hosting it here in Massachusetts for 2 years. The memories, and not just that, at the time, we were very fractioned when we started the Soccer Fest, and I think, what was it, 1994? And we just came together, and we had one of the best tournaments here. And quite frankly, this is also where we started this association, getting the women involved in the organization with the, you know, mass spirit. I think the first time you guys got there, and how many teams do you have now? 5 going in? 4. We have the Breakers, and I think they have 5 or 6 teams going. And then what reminds me too, in the 1994, we had the soccer grannies from South Africa that came over too. Like how we all pulled together, got a team from South Africa, and the women from the Breakers, they got funding for it, and I think they paid for it. Like, I mean, we got the money to fly over a team from South Africa and just come over, and the media and the press that we got from that was amazing. We had disasters too at Soccer Fest. I can tell you, lightning striking, all the tents breaking. While we're fixing the tents, we had reserve tables like this at a party, and we forgot to put the name tags for the reserve tables, and we had charged $50 each. And I stood there after fixing the tents, having to be yelled at from everybody. All worked out. It always does work out at the end of the day. In general, building the mass online system, it's probably one of the biggest things that we've done for this state. Going from paper to online changed how we, how we communicate, how we act with our members. So that's sort of like one of the biggest accomplishments. And that wasn't just me. I mean, I think, who was the deciding vote? Tony, you were the deciding vote in that. I never would have guessed it. Remember, it was a tie vote, and it was last vote. And it was a contentious, like every league did their own thing, Excel, pen and paper. And we said, let's go online, let's change how we operate, let's automate, let's make it simpler, let's make it faster. It changes how we do that. And once we voted it, we all went all in. Steve was involved in this, Jeremy was involved in that. But what stands out most of everything with soccer is the friendships that this game brings to us. The most memories I have is the experience and the friends I have. And I can tell you guys tons of stories. One of the things that stands out, the calls I get from Steve Siniscalchi. Even, up until a couple of years ago, I would get a weekly call with him, talking about how can we improve, what can we do, how can we change. Tony Dubrowski introducing me to the Nationals, and I'll never forget, Tony, I still have the video of you dancing at the lobby with a towel late at night at a hotel lobby you were there. I wish I had the video so I could play it, because it was a sight. I think there was a shooting in New Orleans. Rich Frangillo, were you there with us? Steve was too. We were on U.S. It was actually probably our first U.S. Soccer, USASA meeting. And I think it was U.S. Soccer too. And we're out there, it's like a rehearsal for Mardi Gras the day before. And we're walking the parade in the evening, and suddenly we hear bum, 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 bum. And we all rushing into a store. But these are the memories with friends that you don't forget. Jimmy Antonakas, always calling him for outstanding balances because he owes something. I wish he was here. That's exactly. The game of soccer that brings us together, whether we play or we are administrators, and that's what always stands out to me. It's the game of soccer. You look at the World Cup. It's all about friendships and the experience itself, and that's what I've enjoyed of the sport. I look at my kids now. That's the same thing. It's friendships that they have. The game is great, but it all brings us together. So, with that said, thank you again.
Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do. Pele said that. Alex Tsalagas served on the Mass Soccer Executive Committee for 6 years as both secretary and treasurer. And without meaning to discount that service, Alex, that is not why you're being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Alex is simply, first and foremost, a coach. And I actually went to the Cambridge English Dictionary or whatever it is to look up what that means. I wanted to know exactly what a coach is. And this is their definition. It's the person who is responsible for managing and training a person or a team. Someone whose job it is to teach people to improve at a sport. And by any definition, there is no doubt that Alex has been successful. This 3-page small print, not the big print, is the short bio for Alex, which I'm not going to read because we have the hall till only 9 o'clock. So forget about it. But his accomplishments are amazing. He coached Hellas United for over a decade, and then Boston Olympiacos, I think, for even longer. And for those of you unfamiliar, those are two of the best Irish teams in the state. He shepherded the Mass Select team, competing as a finalist in the USSF Donnelly Cup 3 times, winning it twice. He established the Mass Elite Player Soccer Academy program, out of which over 40, and that's 40 at least that I could count, players went on to be placed at professional level, internationally, up to and including MLS on professional clubs. He took an over 40 team to the Veterans Cup, now Soccer Fest, and won that national title. And most significantly of all, won the USASA National Amateur Championship not once but twice. Success is no accident. Yeah, that's serious. I have another story. This is a footnote, I guess, Alex. I think it was 2012. I'm not so sure. But I heard that he actually got into the Guinness Book of World Records, and I believe it was 2012, and I believe it was for he had tied the world record for like consecutive wins by an amateur soccer club, and I think it was 30 or 31 games, whatever it was. And so I heard about this, and I went to the game the following week in the hopes of seeing the record broken. Of course, I was there, and so I want to apologize. I'm sorry about jinxing you, but that's a true story. So I hope this makes up for it a little bit. I want to invite, wait a minute. Yeah, Tony. Where's Tony? Dubrowski. Okay, good. Tony, could you please come up and help present the award for Alex? Tony Dubrowski, Hall of Fame member of soccer.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Steve, Cezar. Well earned. One thing you should all know is this: it's commitment. It's almost like crazy, okay? Because I've gone through it. A lot of us here, Dilvo knows it. It's like spend many, many hours of your time, your family time, that you give to the game that you love, okay? And I remember when Alex first showed up with this LS team, pain in the neck during league meetings, but he talked a lot. And so I figured that, you always need help when you're running a league. And I saw a fish in the line there when I saw Alex. I was able to cope him to come into the fold of the league that I was running at that time. And the thing is that once you get a fish on the line, you don't want to let go, and you want to keep giving them more and more and more work. Makes your life more simple. And Alex did that for me. And as a matter of fact, because he did such a good job, I got him to involved with the State Soccer Association, which Andy is the president of currently, and he did that also, running the league and also being involved with the State Association. Well, that wasn't good enough, so I said, okay, maybe I can get him into the national program. At that time, I somehow got him involved to be a regional select teams coach for the Region 1 because of Alex's hard work. And it's paying through right now. And I'm a friend of his. I've known Alex for a while now, and it's good to see my friends get this award. Well earned. Congratulate you. By the way, Alex, I knew you played goalie, but the team you played for is glad you stopped being the goalie, okay? And now, but we are definitely welcomed you into the administrative aspect of football, soccer, okay? Congratulations, Alex. Okay. Alec, you got 5 minutes to talk, okay? He's gonna talk a half an hour.
It's going to take 5 minutes to get up here.
Hey, everybody.
Congratulations. Okay. The floor is yours.
Quite a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm one of the many people like you who dedicated a long life to the game. I have done a lot, and I got to points where my achievements went high sky. I had a lot of people involved, and it wasn't only me. A lot of people who served the game just like you tonight. It was dedication, it was devotion, and a lot of work. I shared a lot of common things, a lot of common values with Steve and Cezar. They're worthy adopters, and I'm privileged to be joining them tonight. I just gave them one box, and I would ask them to kindly open that box. But before you do, there's a catch to it. You open the box, you lift its content, and from now on you wear it. So if you want to risk it, you can do that. But I would encourage you to do so. I told you we have lots in common. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony was the bigger inspiration for me. Tony did see me when I was involved with Mass League, and I did, and I do confess, caused a lot of trouble. I had a mind and a mouth that was solely involved for the benefit of the player. And that mouth took me to a lot of trouble. And that's, I think, one of those troubles led me here tonight, but in a good way. Tony was a big inspiration to me because he pushed me all the way to do everything. He believed in me. And he was my most devoted person who would always guide me and look after to what I was doing and kind of like push me more and more day by day. I remember when Tony got into the Hall of Fame many decades ago, Tony. I was present with my wife. After the ceremony finished, I said to Tony, Tony, I really wish one day I'll end up being like you. And Tony turned around and said, you got a lot of bread to eat, kid. Typical Tony, because his expectations were high. But I didn't have a problem with that. I was very committed to what I was doing. So besides Tony, it was also Pasquale, another one of my inspirations. Pasquale, you're here tonight. Thank you for honoring us. He was also another mentor person who also helped me to continue doing what I could do. I had certain abilities with coaching, and they were inspiring me to continue bringing them into a different level. Another individual, God rest his soul, was Larry Frizzoli. Larry Frizzoli was a unique individual. He had certain ways. I remember one time he called me and he said, Greek, I need to ask you a question. I'm like, all right, Larry, what is it? And then next thing you know, there's a available position for the state team, and you're now the coach of the state team. He says, all right, Larry, what was the question? From that point on, he said, you have 2 weeks to form the team, and I want the team to have all kind of league players. I do not want to see anybody outside the league. I said, oh, Larry, okay. So you cut my legs off and you tell me to run the marathon. But at the same time, I knew the players from the leagues. I knew they were capable to achieve a lot of big things. And that did not stop me from taking the assignment. A week later, I get a call from Tony. He says, Alex, is the team ready? I'm like, Tony, I'm with the team 1 week. I haven't done not much. That's okay, Alex, don't worry about it. We assigned a professional game to play against the professional team in Rhode Island. You will be tested to see how much you can do. And from that point on, if you're successful in that game, if you manage to play well, we'll assign you to the team. I'm like, okay, wow. A lot of things were happening, and I didn't know what to make out of it. But what I knew is that we had the personnel. We had the players. We had the talent. And I was very, very, very confident we'll be okay. So that night, I took my team, and I went down to Rhode Island to play. Tony came along, and we warmed up in a very unique way. And for the first time, I saw a professional team looking at our own guys, which it means that I had the upper hand. That team was a little bit intimidated. So now I got to do my thing. I remember at the 75th minute, Tony calling Larry. And from what I could tell, because there was a lot of whispering, but I did hear Tony saying, Larry, it's the 70th minute, and the score is 6-0. And then there was pause. And I'm sure Larry was like, ah, la, 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 la. And then there was more silence. And then Tony goes, no, Larry, 6-0 to our favor. So that was the kind of players that we had for that team. But that was not it. That was not how far we went. And I'm not here to talk about me. My reputation precedes me, and I'm grateful for that. And like I said, I had tons of people that work with me, and I owe them a lot. I want to talk about the players that we had, and the games we played. And we achieved a lot, and we did a lot. And we did it away from our state. That bothers me. But it did happen. It was something that it was more memorable than anything, and I had a blast. But at the same time, I need to make you aware. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2006, the Mass Select team had an assignment, a major assignment. And that assignment was to play a very big professional team in Framingham. That team came to Framingham to play in front of thousands of players, to put out a show. Nobody wanted to compete with them. Nobody. They asked me, and I said yes. And then instantly, everybody said, Alex, you're suicidal. You're going against the national team of Brazil, the 2002 world champion. Okay, but it's always 11 versus 11. Anything can happen. That night, we went into a crowd, a hostile crowd, although we're playing in Massachusetts, we went into a hostile crowd. I had faith that my players will do whatever it takes. We're not going to be embarrassed from superstars. We are going to play our game, and we'll do whatever we can. That evening was one hell of a game. At the end of the game, the famous Tuga expressed himself, and he said, I believe we made a mistake scoring early in this game. We took the pressure away from the team. This was one hell of a team. We had to play very hard. It was a great show, and we're lucky we won. The game ended up with a loss to Mass Soccer 1-0. That night, and I don't know, I'm one of those coaches that does not believe in sweet losses. Never did. Never will. There's no such a thing. Winners are the players. Coaches are the losers. That's one thing that I refuse to do. I can never accept the defeat. This is one of the cases that was in bloodbath with the referees. And I see some of them who I really admire, like Richard Fragello and Dilvo, who are joining us tonight. And I appreciate your efforts for a very long time commitment. I truly do. Another thing that I wanted to mention is I'm very good friends with Andy. And I believe I'm very good friends with Andy because he never refed one of my games. But nevertheless, the assignments keep coming. And everybody was eager to see this Mass team succeed. Mass competed for a very long time, but it was very unfortunate not to be able to get into the finals. So Larry made me commit to him after that night. Alex, you got the job, but I want you to promise me in 3 years, you need to get to the finals. I'm like, one more time, Larry, I promise you. I'll do whatever it takes. So we went on and played and competed. In New York and Oneonta, we finished the finals. My duty is to call Larry and report what happened at the finals. So I pick up the phone and I call Larry that night. And I tell him, Larry, I have to apologize to you. I lied. And Larry started again. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Larry, listen to me. I lied. I told you I was going to get the team to the finals in 3 years. I did it in 2. I'm sorry. And then we went on with the same team, with the same players. Tony kept feeding me information, giving me information. Alex, you got to watch out for Chicago. You got to watch out for Utah. You got to watch out for Texas. It's your first time there. You need to be prepared. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm like, it's my first time there, and I have an advantage. They don't know us. It took us 10 minutes into the tournament for them to find out who we were. An excruciating tournament against the best teams in the United States, the best select teams that USASA and USACA tournaments have to offer. Teams well-trained, teams with many abilities and many talented players. And at the end of that tournament, Mass Soccer won the tournament and tied Texas, the big powerhouse of a decade. Ever since then, Mass Soccer continues success. 42 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. This is what you people done. This is what your devotion and what your commitment has done to the game. The success of all the players continued throughout the years. The team was undefeated for 3 years in a row. Throughout the program, I was privileged to have players. My team got wiped out, but in a good sense. My players made it to Barcelona, to Liverpool, to Man United, and many other teams, to Galaxy, to Seattle Sounders, national team of Haiti, national team of Ghana. We had it all. We had a lot of fun, and that takes commitment. It takes a lot of devotions, and takes a lot of work. And it takes a lot of know-how, but above all, a lot of support. And I did have the support behind me, and I had it for all the time, including my family, who's here tonight. I appreciate all the support for the years. One thing that I want to mention, my soulmate and my best friend, my wife, she never knew that she actually made me believe that I'm a coach. When I used to play, she used to come and tell me at Saturday night, after 2 months after I told her I play soccer, and this is my passion. So I guess she had enough. One evening, she came to our living room, and she's asking me Saturday night, Alex, you have a game tomorrow? And I'm like, very happy. Yeah, I do have a game. Next thing you know, she comes out with coverings, and she puts them on the couch. A week later, she's asking me the same question, and it was the same answer again. So after that night, the third weekend, I went in and I got the covers, and I put them on the couch myself. So my wife comes up and says, oh, you have a game tomorrow. And then she took the covers and put them back into the bedroom. That night, I realized that I could be a coach if I can coach my wife to accept what I'm doing. I couldn't be more grateful, and I couldn't be more touched from this induction tonight. It's been an honor serving the game. It's been an honor making so many friends. It's been an honor coaching players who were fortunate enough to move on and go to many talented teams. And I always believed that we have room to do more. And I am grateful for all of you being who you are and serving the game. But at the same time, I want you to know, I'm from the Mass Soccer backyard. Thank you.
So I'd just like to indulge you for about 5 more minutes, and we're going to have a little meeting of the Board of Directors of Mass Soccer. So I'd like a motion to, Nadia, keep notes, please. Yes, our secretary. I would like a motion to waive the required notice to have a meeting in order to get this meeting off the ground.
Second.
Okay, record, please. So we have one agenda item that I'd like a proposal to give and grant life membership to all of the Hall of Fame inductees for Mass Soccer. Can I hear a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Simple. Motion to adjourn? That's it, folks. Thank you very much for coming. And that's how we do it. That's how we do it.